Good morning, students. This is class 9, and I'm going to take environmental education, revision of class 8, chapter 1, and the chapter is interaction between the living and the non-living. Living and non-living. So, I shall just share the screen with you and accordingly you can follow up. Okay. So, in this chapter, we are going to study about the interaction between the living and the non-living. But before that, let us see why we are studying this environmental education. So, environmental education is all about learning the way we should live and how we can develop sustainable strategies to protect the environment. Yes, we need to see as we know the environment. What is this environment? Environment is the all around surroundings. Okay, all around whatever we see all around us is the environment, and this environment has to be also protected. So it helps individual to develop an understanding of living and physical environment and how to resolve challenging environmental issues. That is, issues about the natures, issues about affecting the nature. In addition to studying the physical aspects of the environment, it is also emphasized that the need to conserve biodiversity and adopt a more sustainable life and utilize resources in a responsible way. And so, to create awareness among today's generation on pressing environmental problems, the Universities Grants Commission, the UGC, has made it mandatory, compulsory for all the universities and schools to introduce a course in environmental education and to teach students about the ecosystem. That is why we are going to see in this chapter interaction between the balance in nature and the interaction between the living and the non-living. So, let us discuss the need, the desire, the need to include environmental education in this aspect. Okay, so in this chapter, we are going to see, or we are going to study, learn about the conditions in which a living organism lives, like light, soil, temperature, and water constitute his environment. So, every organism is influenced by the influences the life and physical environment around it. So the interaction between the different kinds of living organisms and their environment is studied under a separate branch of biology called ecology. So each organism lives in a place where conditions for his survival prevails. For his survival, that he gets food and shelter. The climate conditions should be suitable for breeding and flourishing of his young ones. Such a place is called his habitat. So here you can see what is ecology. Ecology is the study of the relationship between organisms and their environment and the balance between these relationships. So, and what is the habitat? The habitat is each organism living in a place where conditions for his survival prevail, and that is he gets food and shelter. The climate conditions should be suitable for breeding and flourishing of his young ones. Such a place is called his habitat. Okay, some examples of the habitat are a pond for a fish, thick forests of India and Burma for monkeys and langurs. A particular habitat would generally support more than one kind of organisms. For example, a pond will have different types of fishes, frogs, insects, and aquatic plants. A forest will also have a wide variety of plants and animals besides monkeys and langurs. Such a collection of living beings are living together in an area make a community. So, however, the community of organism is dependent upon the non-living factors, also such as soil, air, water, and sunlight. So, a community of organisms living together with its physical environment constitutes an ecosystem. So an ecosystem is a self-sustaining and independent unit. So the ecosystem is a altogether an independent unit. Some examples of the ecosystems are a pond, a lake, a river, a forest, a desert, a mountain, etc. So all these examples of natural ecosystems and according to this, you can see in this picture I have put over here on the pond ecosystem. Yes, the biotic factors divided into two, the producers and the decomposers and consumers. So producers, you can see the algae and the hydrophytic plants. The consumers, primary, secondary, and tertiary. There are three types of consumers: the protozoa, the primary, protozoa, and crustaceans; the secondary, insects, and the larvae; and the tertiary consumers, the fish and sharks. Fishes and the sharks. And the decomposers, you can see the bacteria, fungi, and the microbes. And in the abiotic factors, you can see what is it? The light, heat, water, and minerals. Okay, the structure of an ecosystem. An ecosystem is made up of two main components. That is abiotic and biotic, as given in this picture on your right. So now biotic components, that is plants and animals, may be broadly classified into three categories. The first one producers, second one is consumers, and the third one, the decomposers. Now the first one, producers. Who are the producers? Producers are green plants that prepare their own food using carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. This process is called the photosynthesis. The second one, consumers. Now, consumers are animals which directly or indirectly depend on plants for their requirement of food. These are further classified as primary consumers, which feed on plants directly. These are herbivorous animals such as a deer or a rabbit. So, you can see over here, I have put down pictures also. In producers, you can see producers are the lowest trophic level in any food chain. They are autotrophs, which means they make their own food. So producers are the ones which make their own food. Producers are typically plants, but they can also be other organisms like phytoplanktons and so on. The picture which is showing over here, this though either photosynthesis from the using energy from the sun or chemosynthesis or the chemosynthesis using chemical energy. It is chemosynthesis which is using chemical energy. Producers convert inorganic molecules into organic forms usable by higher trophic levels. Well, then consumers are the heterotrophs, that is, they obtain food by eating other organisms. For example, animals, fungi, protists, and most of the bacteria. So types of consumers, we see that there are primary consumers, secondary consumers, and the tertiary consumers. Now, next, secondary consumers are those which feed on herbivorous animals. They are called carnivorous animals. For example, the lion and a fox. Then comes the decomposers. The decomposers are the organisms that act on dead and decaying organic matters to form simpler substances that become a part of the soil. These include some forms of bacteria and fungi. So you can see these pictures I have put over here of all the types. Yes, that is herbivores, carnivores, the tertiary consumers, then the decomposers. Next. So, the interaction between living and non-living. What is the interaction between this non-living and living? Different biotic components, that is producers, consumers, and decomposers, and the abiotic environment constantly interact with each other and are interdependent. So, they depend on each other, all these. The producers consumers, decomposers, and soil. So, what is it? Producers or the green plants trap solar energy and convert carbon dioxide. They trap solar energy and convert carbon dioxide and water into carbohydrates. These carbohydrates are consumed by primary consumers, who in turn are consumed by secondary consumers. And when consumers, that is primary or secondary, die, the decomposers act on their dead bodies and in return the various nutrients elements to soil, water and air. These are again absorbed by the producers and the whole cycle is repeated. You can see on top or in the picture which I have put on the right side. That is the cycle. So, thus a cycle exchange of materials between the living and the non-living environment continues. So, this is all about this chapter, that is interaction between the living and the non-living. Okay, that's all for today and have a nice day.